political nun. She is the greatest human rights lawyer this country has ever produced. She is the person I call when I'm in trouble, which is frequent and must be, annoying. Please welcome President Helena Kennedy.
It's so fabulous seeing you all. And there's something about that sound of women together having a good time that is one of the best sounds in the world. And it was great hearing you all as you came into this room. Now, this year, we're celebrating the 60th Women of the Year lunch. It's a great achievement. And it was set in train by a very remarkable woman, Tony Lothian, the Marchioness of Lothian. Tony was an accomplished journalist who felt the world needed reminding after the war of the extraordinary contribution that women had made and continued to make to this country and to the world. She knew that there was no shortage of incredible women out there in our communities and workplaces who showed just that. She also knew that flagging up women's successes would make sure that there was no going back for women. And she knew that, in fact, focusing attention on women who were breaking into fields of endeavour from which they'd formerly been barred, also worked as an inspiration to new generations of women. With ingenuity and flair, she established this lunch. Now, back in the 50s, many of the professions were still male bastions, loath to include women. She also wanted to bring attention to basically the incredible joy that women can often bring to the things that they attempt. And here we are today doing all that she'd hoped for. Since that first gathering in 1955, women have sat down to lunch every year and toasted the amazing achievements of their companions. Every woman, as Sandy has just said, is a winner. Every woman in this room is here because of special achievement. As Tony would have wanted, the lunch has evolved. It hasn't remained static. All our guests are amazing women. But in the early years, of course, many of the women were there as firsts. The first woman High Court judge, the first woman CEO, the first woman astronaut. And today is no exception. We also have our firsts here. I'm going to mention some of them. Lieutenant Maxine Stiles on table 31. Wave to us, Maxine, stand up. She one of a tiny cohort of the first women submariners in the Royal Navy. Woo! And then to 16-year-old Molly Thompson-Smith. Where are you, Molly? Table 23. She is the UK's #1 climber and a member of the World Cup team. Caroline Hamilton, the first woman to walk to the North and South Poles as a member of all women teams, on table 25. There are many women in this room who have been firsts, and they've broken incredible barriers. We also celebrate amazing actors who have awed us with their incredible talent. And I want to make special mention of Dame Harriet Walters, who's currently in an all-woman production. Table 29. Table 5, the gorgeous Sophie Ward. Where are you, Sophie? Let's be seeing you. There are other great actresses in the room. I want to make a special mention at table 27 of the amazing Lindsay Lohan, who has conquered... Stand up, Lindsay. Woo. Lindsay's enjoying her West End debut and all power to her elbow. We acclaim great entrepreneurs too, like Stephanie Shirley on table 27. Stephanie Shirley. Stephanie Shirley was a woman ahead of her times who created a tech company in the 60s that created job opportunities for women with dependents, and who has gone on to great success and wealth, and whose philanthropy is absolutely staggering. She has really been giving her money away, but to fabulous purposes, and I celebrate her for what she does. The fabulous designer, Zandra Rhodes, on table 11. And the superwoman herself, Shirley Conran, an absolute force of nature on table 24. On table 22, we have Major Kate Philp, who trekked to the South Pole with Prince Harry, despite her having lost a leg in Afghanistan. And listen, when we say that women are here from all walks of life, we really mean it. We have Nell Gifford, who was the founder of Gifford Circus, table 10. We even have a shepherdess, no crook with her, but she's a shepherdess, Emma Gray on table 35. This is no Dingley Dell shepherdess. She was the first female winner of the Northumberland sheepdog trials. And we have Kate Glover, the only woman member of the Master Thatcher Society on table 24. And where is Lilian on table 40, I think? Lilian, stand up. Lilian Umubyeyi was a Rwandan asylum seeker who witnessed her whole family being massacred. And she herself suffered terrible violation. But she was awarded a foundation grant from Women of the Year, the thing that you all kind of contribute to, a donation to. And I'm thrilled to say that as a result of all of that and her great endeavor and stoicism, she graduated this year from Oxford Brookes University with a degree. She got a degree in international relations, and she's going to go on to do a master's in the same subject. And one of these days, you know, Lilian is going to be one of those women, I hope to God, at the power tables trying to secure peace and justice in our world. Lilian, you're a miracle. In Women of the Year, we are consciously more and more celebrating women who use their own ingenuity, altruism, or even their own pain to improve the world, or at least their own communities. So many of the women recognized in this room at this event are ordinary women who do extraordinary things. There are women who have suffered the tragic loss of a child and then raised funds to help children suffering the same illness, or women who have faced cancer and then supported others with the same disease. There are women who see their neighborhoods blighted because of youth crime and who set up centers where there's activity and opportunity to be creative and productive. There are women who just see a problem and say, it's got to be fixed. And women, of course, are good at doing that. The courage and determination of so many women is inspirational and breathtaking. I first came to the lunch in the 80s. I met Tony and I adored her, and I loved the lunch. I sat with an amazing collection of fabulous women, as you're all doing today, and I knew that the world was changing. My own practice in the law had driven home to me that women would not experience justice and achieve equality until our institutions of government and the law and so on were all reformed and that women were able to play a fuller role. I saw how domestic violence was treated as a lesser crime and rape was the subject of jokes often in the courts. It was the women who were put on trial when they bravely stepped forward with their allegations. Back in those days, I was considered an iconoclast for raising those issues, and I was told not to rock the boat. And although there has been insufficient change, even now, at least these outrages are now on the agenda, and we are rocking the boat every day. Now, none of the changes would have happened without women stepping up. And I'm happy to say that women's experience has been put under the spotlight at many of our lunches. Women of the Year was ahead of the curve in raising issues of child abuse and rape as a war crime. We've celebrated the women who fought for equal pay. We also sounded the alarm bells on domestic violence and will continue to do so until it is eliminated entirely. We've placed laurels on the heads of women who fought racism, saved whole villages from poverty, and brought relief to the desperately ill. We've showered with praise our sisters who fought in wars, created successful businesses, who've pushed their own athletic prowess to the limits, or who have brought us joy through theatre, film, and television. Last year, we saluted Malala, you know, that wonderful young woman shot by the Taliban for her campaigning for education for girls. Now, in these last days, she received the Nobel Prize. I will ensure that your support and congratulations are conveyed to her. What the lunch has taught us is that in great ways and in small, every one of us can make a difference. Over the years, we've had many incredible women here: Margaret Thatcher, Tina Turner, Helen Mirren, members of the royal family. And each year we reflect on the great women who've gone. And Sandy spoke of one. You can imagine, I'm sure, many of your own, and you'll think of them, personal icons. For me this year, I saw the passing of Helen Bamber. Helen Bamber was an extraordinary woman whom we have had here as one of our guests. She was a young servicewoman in the British Army. She entered Belsen after the war and witnessed the terrible horrors of the concentration camps and the effects of the Holocaust. And she gave her life thereafter to working as a psychotherapist, bringing some balm to the victims of torture. And I was privileged to know her and to have her work with me on some of my own cases involving torture. Then there was the sad death of that amazing poet and author Maya Angelou. And again, I was very lucky because I got to know her as a young woman and she became a dear friend. Here was a woman whose life was like a novel. It really was, and you can read her books, and really it's extraordinary. She was raped as a child by her mother's partner. She became mute as a result of the trauma. And she not only eventually recovered her voice, but she put it to great use, singing, creating poetry, acting, and championing justice and peace in our world. A true role model. This lunch has become a special part of British life, but also it speaks to the world. Like Wimbledon and the proms, people listen in. It comes round every year, and every year we are amazed and beguiled by your stories and your lives. And you're all, each and every one of you, a heroine. You're all heroic, and we are proud to gather here today in your name and in the name of all women. So I just wanted to say to you, have a great lunch. You're going to hear and see being awarded some particular women, but all of you are special and all of you are winners. Thank you.